Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated is an international association that has become a legacy of excellence founded on January 9, 1914 on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C. With culture for service and service for humanity as their motto, the Brotherhood is able to advance a variety of human causes, including civil and equal rights and service to America's communities. Over 100 years since its founding, and with over 185,000 members initiated, the Brotherhood has evolved into one of the nation's oldest predominantly African American institutions. Membership in Phi Beta Sigma has its privileges: professional and leadership development, innovative programs, first-class social functions, community service, and an international network of lifelong friendships. Since 1914, we are men of vision, men of service, men of culture, men of leadership. Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
We all know the essence of the economy. Many cases we hear when mainstream gets a cold, our community tend to catch pneumonia. So when you think about Operation Hope and you think about the work they're doing on really advancing and partnering with the creation and the support of 1 million Black businesses, we know that that work is very relevant. Very proud of the work that Operation Hope is doing, but more importantly, proud of the resources that they're going to provide African-American entrepreneurs to really advance their brand, advance their businesses, but also advance their services. It was in 1924 that our fraternity founded our first national program, and that first national program was Bigger and Better Business. It created an opportunity for us to not only promote and advance entrepreneurship of African-American businesses, but also to showcase how our values aligned with advancing that objective. And so when you look almost 95 years later, and we have an opportunity to partner with Operation Hope through their 1 Million Black Businesses initiative, this was the perfect opportunity. Phi Beta Sigma certainly is extremely proud to be the first partner. And so to all my D9 peers, I look forward to you joining us as well.
In my soul, Lord, feel it in my soul. Phi Beta Sigma got soul. Phi Beta Sigma got soul. Said Phi Beta Sigma got soul. Phi Beta Sigma got soul.
Welcome to Operation Hope, an organization dedicated to promoting financial dignity through financial literacy and empowerment, helping turn renters into buyers and the disqualified into homeowners, molding entrepreneurial ideas and aspirations into viable small businesses, inspiring young people to take hold of their futures and make their dreams come true, promoting financial wellness in the workplace, helping to bring financial wholeness and peace of mind, standing with survivors, helping them restore dignity and rebuild their lives after a disaster. We are Operation Hope, working together to create a brighter financial future for us all. Join us as we continue to transform lives through financial dignity in the 21st century.
Good evening. On behalf of Phi Beta Sigma chapter of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, the Los Angeles Sigmas, I'd like to welcome you all to our money management workshop this evening. My name is Dr. Stephen Rice, and I serve as the chapter president. Today is a very special day for our chapter. 85 years ago today, our chapter was chartered here in Los Angeles. And for 85 years, we have continued to be the light in Los Angeles and to spread our principles of brotherhood, scholarship, and service. And the workshop that we're doing today is no different. And as we think about our 85 years in the month of February, which is also Black History Month, we honor two of our charter members this evening, that William Nickerson Jr. and George Beavers. You see, they both were insurance agents here in Los Angeles and realized that the Black citizens in Los Angeles were denied life insurance. So they came together and started the Golden Mutual Life Insurance and provided life insurance for African Americans in Los Angeles, which was never heard of before. But they did it for all citizens in Los Angeles to receive finances. And so for 85 years, Phi Beta Sigma chapter have created ways for individuals in Los Angeles to be better through finances, through service, through scholarship. And today is no different. So I hope that you enjoy our workshop today, that you apply it and share it to someone else, especially our youth who need that financial literacy. I invite you all to join us on our social media, Los Angeles Sigmas. We're on Facebook and Instagram. I'd like to introduce our chapter director of Bigger, Better Business, that of Dr. Antonio Williams. Good evening, Brother Williams.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So this evening is brought to you by the Bigger and Better Business Committee. I'd like to thank Brother Moore, Brother Winfrey, Brother Taylor, Brother Blewett, and Brother Carter for helping in this evening. This is the first of a series of videos designed to provide relevant financial literacy education. Tonight, our speaker, Isabel Duran, is a credit counselor for Operation Hope, a nonprofit for purpose organization. Their mission is to upset poverty by reaching out to communities and providing financial literacy education and providing resources to assist those who have been underserved. She has worked for nonprofit organizations for the last 20 years. She currently offers credit counseling, first-time home buyer workshops, and foreclosure prevention. She is a HUD certified counselor, and she is bilingual in Spanish and English. She received her BA in liberal arts from Mount St. Mary's University. So without further ado, Isabel, if you want to start.
Thank you very much, Dr. Antonio Williams. It's an honor to be here and to offer my favorite subject, money management and credit. So Operation Hope has this big goal to do outreach and try to reach the community with information to empower them and to offer them methods and steps and work plans to financial dignity. Information education is so important to understand the system. And because we are coaches also, we try to help them one-on-one at their pace and at their place. Next slide. So we always start with the basics, the purpose of a budget. I always tell folks when I was young and graduated from high school, I was so excited to go buy a car. And I went to a car dealer and they asked me, so what's your budget? And I said, well, I tell you what, let me come back with my mother and we'll see. I asked my mom, what's a budget? And she was so upset. You just graduated from high school. What do you mean you don't know what a budget is? So she had to sit down with me and explain, this is what I do to handle this house and to help you with your education. And I realized that there's a purpose to a budget. And the purpose of the budget is, where is my money actually going? I had a job, but I just didn't know what I was doing with my money. I learned really quickly. Next slide. So, having a budget tells you where you are with your money. You need to understand how much money comes into your household, or how much money you make, what you bring home, and then what expenses are essential that you have to pay. What we want to do is encourage you to always set aside money to save. And this is what we call paying you first. You got to pay yourself first when you work and get money. And that savings is going to turn into an investment in the future. So we really encourage everyone to save, save, save. Sometimes I do have to work with folks who don't make a lot of money. And I ask them, is there any way you can save $1 a week, $1 a month? You got to put some money aside for emergencies. Take care of your basic needs. And then we can talk about a little bit of spending money, because we're going to show you your needs and your desires. And we want to have you understand the difference between the two. Next slide. So every person's budget is different. So we understand that everyone's not the same. So we want you to do a budget that is customized to your lifestyle, your expenses. What is it that you need, where you are, and sometimes put a little money aside for extra fun money. So we work with that. And it's so important to always know how much money you have and what you have to spend. That way, you're always in control of your own money. No one else should control your money, just you. But you need to understand how to understand what you have to pay to live and survive, and save for those extra fun stuff. Next slide. We always say savings is not optional. You have to save. Having savings makes the difference between a crisis and an inconvenience. If you dip into your savings for an emergency, consider it a loan and set up a repayment schedule. In other words, pay yourself what you borrowed from your savings. Think about paying yourself interest. I remember hearing that the first time, and I thought, oh, what a great idea. Not only will I save, but I'm going to pay myself interest. In other words, I'm going to save a little more in order to have more of a bigger savings. And you'll see how that's really going to help a lot. Next slide, please. So there's different ways of tracking your spending. What we suggest you do is maybe make a list of what you spend, maybe save receipts. For instance, if you go to Walmart and spend $100, don't just write $100 Walmart. Was it 75 for groceries, 15 for clothes, and 10 for cleaning products? If you go to the ATM or bank and withdraw $100, don't just put ATM 100. You want to actually track what that 100 was spent on. The details are very important. You can either keep it simple with budgeting and use pen and paper, or you can use an Excel spreadsheet. Or if you're more tech savvy, there are many apps that are very useful, tools in helping you to budget and save. There's Every Dollar, there's a Pocket Guard, there's an app that's called Intuit Mint, and there's other programs you can use on the phone. But it's good to always know. I know I always go to my bank statement, and I always want to see where am I, what bills came in, just to be on top of what's going on. That way, when you know what you have, when you know what you have to pay, you have the power. Imagine that you actually know what decisions to make. So go ahead into the next slide. It's exciting to know what you have. So what we like to do is also suggest and motivate you and encourage you maybe to reduce some of those extra expenses you really don't need to make. Um, like stop eating out every day, meal plan when possible. I know it's so much fun to call Grubhub and those delivery places, but really think about it. Yeah, do you really need that? I know sometimes you're in a hurry, you have several meetings to do, and then you come home and then you got to cook. Well, maybe you can buy something. But again, it's always planning and always thinking about how much money you have to spend on that. Another savings is buying in bulk, coupon and bargain shopping. Take advantage of rebates, any moratorium, and community resources. No more in person or online shopping sprees every paycheck. That gets a little expensive. I know it's convenient, and it's fun, but why don't you wait a little bit and start saving? Uh, Also, reducing banking expenses, ATM fees, and overdraft fees. Try to avoid that. I know sometimes it's hard, but really, it's extra money that is just going away and it's not going into your savings. Prepaid card fees or paper statement fees, check fees, annual fees, late payment fees. There's always a fee. And try to see how you can avoid that. That way, you have more money in your pocket. Next slide, please. Okay. Check your car insurance. Understand what your car insurance is covering to make sure that you understand what you have in coverage. Maybe you could save on mileage. Maybe you could save on the year of your car or what's being offered. And then you can also shop around with other insurance companies. Cell phone and cable bundles. Oh, the cell phones are such a burden sometimes. And especially when you want to change from one company to another because they have a better service, better price. Uh, Try to be careful when you do that. I know a lot of folks, I see a lot of cell phone companies on collections in credit, which I will discuss in a minute because you forgot to do one thing. And I'll tell you when we're in the credit. Cable and phone companies. If you ever close your cable account, make sure you get receipts when you return the boxes and anything else they ask for. I see that that's also a problem on credit reports. And always look for a better deal, but always be careful how you do the changing from one company to another. Don't buy a new car before you buy a home. Why? Well, we feel that buying a house is the best investment you can make for yourself, but we always want to just show you a car note. You can be paying $450 a month. Car insurance would be another additional $250 a month. Car gas and maintenance $300. So you're almost spending about $1,000 a month for that car. And most first-time home buyers don't qualify for a home loan because of this monthly expense. So think about that. What's your future goal? Let me help you with that. It takes a lot of discipline to save, but it's worth it. Being financially stable provides a sense of security, self-confidence, and the power over your life and future. And that is so true. I wish I could emphasize it. But let me go on to the next slide. Thank you. Do you research and find a savings account that will work for you? Um, we have Acorn that helps you grow your money. I don't know about Credit Karma. They're constantly advertising credit cards that you need. Well, actually, you don't need. But Credit Karma does offer a really good service in offering you free credit reports and a credit score. And I'll tell you the difference with the FICO credit score. However, as far as savings is concerned, there's other types of services and accounts. But we want you to research. There's a lot of good programs out there to help you and get you a better interest rate with some of the banks. Okay, next slide. So once we give you the workshop, we always offer our free one-on-one session, credit counseling. It's done one-on-one, personally, confidential, and we offer you a free credit report through TransUnion. It's we don't take any points off because we don't offer credit. We offer counseling. So we'll go over your goals, short-term goals, long-term goals. We'll give you a dollar amount and time frame in case you have a goal, a quick goal. We help you create a budget. We'll go over your expenses and your income and show you what it looks like. I'll make some suggestions and ask you what is it that you're comfortable with as far as changing any of the expenses that you make. And we help you with a work plan to pay off some debt, save some money, maybe offer you some resources that you can look into to help you. And we'll follow up and see how you're doing. Coach you, motivate you, give you the rah rah when you reach your goal, and now you've reached your pivot point where you can make some changes in your life. But we'll always be there to encourage you, and that's what we want to do: is give you information, help you, and encourage you to get to that point. Next slide. Any questions? Go ahead and put them in the chat.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions currently right now. I noticed some of the the apps that you suggested. I saw the Mint, the Intuit Mint. I thought that was a pretty good suggestion on being able to track at least your online transactions. Um,
Yeah, you have your phone, you look at it, you can make quick decisions. It's really handy on those apps on the phone. Um, it helps with making a decision. Sometimes opportunities come. You want to figure out, is this a good idea, or should I really research and take some time, or can I look and see what's going on? Yeah, there's some nice apps there.
and one of the things I thought was interesting. Next up in our series, you discussed some factors that need to be, I guess, considered when trying to become a homeowner, and you brought up in this workshop the importance of perhaps buying the home before for the vehicle, and maybe you could talk a little more on how budgets affect that process of getting the next financial level.
It's amazing what a budget will do for you, especially when it comes to having to pay credit cards, a car payment. Um, Let me see, maybe personal loans. In order to qualify for a certain amount or to find out how much of a house you can afford, there's a little exercise we offer to figure out how much of a house you can afford based on your gross income. So there's a calculation, or there's a formula to calculate your gross income and how will that turn into the mortgage payment and how much of a house you can buy. But if you have debt, and we look at your credit report debt, and so from the gross income, we subtract your car payment, your minimum credit card payments, your personal loan payments, and that reduces the amount from your gross income. So the amount of house you can buy is a lot less. So it's so important to make sure that you pay down debt and you're ready to buy a home. That way you can buy a home that you want to afford.
And I think when you're going through the actual transaction process, when you're verifying things, they'll want to know, your credit score and all those type of things. We have We have a question from a Charles Hunter, 1914. Um, they put, where do you suggest saving the money that you set aside for yourself?
Uh, the bank, your local bank, is the safest place right now until you start looking for other locations, such as some programs that can offer extra interest. But most major banks are insured by FDIC. So whatever money you put into the bank, you will always be insured in case of any problems with the economy, of up to 250,000 per depositor. I'm sorry. So I would start there, and then I do save through a financial advisors program. You can always, look one up or get a recommendation, and that's savings that will always have more interest paid over the long run, and that can help you. Unless you have an employer who offers 401k, you could save money there. And some 401ks do have programs that you can withdraw your money in order to, put a deposit on your home buying project.
Okay. The next question that we have up is Act One NY. They put, I have both Experian and Credit Karma. There's a difference between scores on either. Can you explain why that might be?
The three credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, use the FICO score system. FICO score came around 35 years ago, and they initiated this algorithm to put a score to an activity pertaining to credit. Credit Karma uses a Vantage scoring system that is a different formula, and the difference is just about 5 to 10 points difference. However, I like Credit Karma for the fact that they offer you a free credit report and a score that you can also monitor your credit report. However, you can't use the Credit Karma. You can't take that report to the bank. They will use a FICO scoring system.
Um, Looks like we have another question from I am Mar Gray. Would you say the 50/20/30 budget rule is a good place to start when trying to get a handle on finances?
I think any program you can use. Uh, the idea is to know what your basic expenses are. I mean, in the finance world, it's known that the basic needs of human beings is shelter, transportation, clothing. So we need to have set aside money for housing, whether it's rent or a mortgage. You need to have money set aside for food, uh, preferably cooked at home because it's cheaper. Clothing, and then transportation here in Los Angeles. So 50 would be your housing or your household expenses. 20 would be for savings, and 30 would be anything extra that comes up. That's a pretty good system. There's also the envelope system to put money in the envelopes for housing, put money for budget, for food, clothing, any kind of extras, repairs, and try to stay that in place.
Okay.
I just like to make a list because I could see the list and I say, okay, that's what's happening.
Okay. We have from Stephen Rice. How do you have a suggestion for a good place to begin and teach a child on how to save? So I guess child training or education. How do you do that, or a good suggestion?
Um, I remember my mom took us to the bank when we were like 5 or 6, and they opened up a bank account, and
Okay.
I think it was $1.
You opened up a bank account at 6 years old? That's interesting.
There's some banks that do have children's accounts. I know Operation Hope has a program coming up to offer help to low-income families, to actually give them some money to open up a bank account for a child.
How
One
much
of the,
money?
one
How
of the
much do
things
they
that
give?
is exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. How much do they give children to open up these bank accounts?
I think, if I remember, was $50. They're going to start with that. I don't know how soon, but I know the founder had a meeting 2 months ago and mentioned that. That's his goal, is to,
Now,
almost force families to start a child bank account savings.
I think our community would be interested in the information on that asset to start bank accounts.
Yeah.
We have another question, which is from Act One NY. How do IRAs and 401ks feature into overall savings?
They look really good on your balance sheet, that's for sure. I started with an IRA a long time ago with just $35 a month. And then I went up, I got another job that paid a little more, so I went up $50. And let me tell you, I didn't touch it for 20 years, and it's so nice to see all that money help me with my house. Um, when you want to apply for, a mortgage, they want to see your reserves. So having money in your IRAs and your 401ks shows that you have a good, solid savings, and it's called reserves for buying a house. So it makes you look financially set, like you're ready. You have a good amount of money there, just in case. So if you have one, keep saving. Don't touch it. It really works.
Thank you for that. We have from a Jerome Jackson. I am a financial literacy consultant. What is the last book you read on the subject of finance? By the way, wonderful talk. Thank you for this.
Oh, if I could just have time to read, I would tell you what book I read. But what I'm reading is the Medium little short stories that come online. It's called Medium.
Medium.
And yeah, and they have a couple of writers who talk about finances, and always gives me some good information. But they always say the same thing: you got to save money, you got to stop spending in order to have a good uh, bank account or IRA. Uh, it's always the same thing. It's just know how much money comes in, know how much money you have to pay out when there's an emergency. I remember during 13 years ago, we had the recession. I was laid off, and so what do I do? You relax and don't spend money. Look for little side jobs until you get a regular job, and you just hustle.
So Operation Hope, um, and the one-on-one sessions. How does an individual reach out to Operation Hope to start with better understanding of their budget and a path forward financially?
Uh, all our coaches have a little link on their email. You can book me, and you can book a coach. You can book me uh, according to your schedule, your convenience. We usually ask for an hour of your time so we can explain a few things, so we can get you to sign an authorization or send an authorization via email. and we pull your credit report. We share it with you. We go over it to make sure everything's correct.
Is that a soft pull?
Excuse me?
Is that a soft pull of your credit report to during the conference?
Operation Hope is always a soft pull. The difference between a hard pull is if you're applying for credit from a bank, a store, a clothing store, a food store, a gas station, you're applying for credit from them, and they pull your credit report, it's a hard pull because they're trying to figure out if they're going to give you credit or not. But usually with counselors, we're not giving you credit, we're giving you information, so it's always a soft pull. And then some banks are offering your credit score, and that's a soft pull because they're not offering you credit, they're just offering you the credit score in order to entice you to get a credit card from them. So it's always a difference. And every time they pull your credit report as a hard pull, just remember it's 2 to 4 points they take off your score.
Yeah, and it take a couple years to once they come off. We have another question. As for financial literacy, what suggestions do you have for trimming the fat by determining what you really need versus what you don't? And that's by Act One NY. Thank you for that question.
Okay. Well, I ask questions. I do get nosy when we go over your budget. And I recently had a client who loves to order food. I said, okay, so how much do you order? She says, well, it's, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I go, how much is that? Well, including the delivery, it's $90 a day. And I had to be really careful because, that was her joy. I says, well, paying $90 a day, you're going over your budget. So you're having trouble paying your credit cards. So have you thought of cooking? What do you like to cook? And I go around that to see if, she can think about, maybe cooking a little more and maybe ordering one meal a day. Try to cut back a little bit at a time. Because some people get really used to their spending, and sometimes they take it really personal, and I don't want to get there. But, you want to, personally, I want to scream, stop spending. I go, sometimes when you go home and you put your clothes away, you put things away, have you ever thought of how much you need all that stuff? Or, is there ever a community clothing collection for the poor? Do you ever give bags of clothing away? Think of all that money you spent, I know. Thank you for collections. Thank you for donating. I belong to St. Vincent de Paul Society, and we do collections twice a year, and it's amazing what people give away.
I believe that.
Yeah. So think of saving money. Think of how can you save? Try to use less. So, yeah, I'm cleaning out my china cabinet. If I have 2 sets of dishes, why?
So there's another question that came in. Is there an app you recommend for keeping budgets?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember all of them, but if you Google them, you're going to get a bunch of them. And Mint is good. I hear that. And I'm sorry, I don't use them, so I can't remember all of them.
Yeah, I've used Mint for a while, and I would have to. It's a pretty good one that you can use the free version and operate pretty well. Okay, so this video is like a first part in our series. We have another training setup workshop later in the year of 2022. We also have the other portion of small business that is part of operation, and we're hoping to transition into that. But Dr. Rice, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Well, I appreciate all of the great information today. I learned a lot myself. You can never stop learning, especially when it comes to finances. And as our society changes, as we deal with the pandemic, and a lot of individuals going back to work who've lost jobs for a long time, the importance of saving and never giving up hope. And when you feel lost around finances, there's a little bit you can do here and slowly climb out the hole and see the light. So sometimes maybe a penny here or a dollar there, but slowly but surely you can rebuild your credit and get to where you need to go. So thank you so much for sharing your talent and your gift with us this evening. I just hope that someone learned something tonight that they can start applying starting tomorrow.
No, thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, my final thoughts for this evening. We appreciate everybody that came out to support and the initiative for the bigger and better business for Phi Beta Sigma in Los Angeles. Um, this is the first part in a continuing series. So thank you for tonight, and with that, we'll close out tonight. So thank you.
Thank you all. Please like us on social media, Los Angeles Sigmas, Facebook and Instagram. Take care,
Thank
everyone.